In this video, we'll see how to work out the length of a side in a right-angled triangle given one angle and one side. This will involve labeling the sides, choosing the trig ratio, substituting the values, rearranging the formula, and then using a calculator to find the side length. A classic example of this type of problem is the calculation of a tree's height from the length of its shadow. We use the angle the sun's rays make with the ground at a moment in time, along with the length of the shadow to draw a right-angled triangle, which we then use to calculate the height of the tree. This problem also arises in the context of navigation involving bearings, like this plane flying away from an airport. We can use the plane's bearing and distance traveled to draw a right-angled triangle, which we can then use to calculate how far west of the airport the plane is. So let's work through an example where we know one side length and one angle and want to calculate this side length x. We label the longest side the hypotenuse. We label the opposite side. And we label the side adjacent or next to the angle. Since the adjacent isn't relevant to this example, we're left with the opposite and the hypotenuse, so we use the sine ratio. Substituting the values into the formula, we write sine 35 equals x over 10. To get x on its own, we multiply both sides by 10. Then we enter this into a calculator. 10 times sine 35 equals, which tells us that the length of side x is 5.7, rounded to one decimal place. Some problems require one more step of rearrangement, like this triangle where we need to calculate y. We label the longest side the hypotenuse. We label the side opposite the angle, and we label the side adjacent to the angle. This time, the opposite isn't relevant to this example, and we're left with the adjacent and the hypotenuse. So we use the cosine ratio. Substituting the values into the formula, we write cosine 40 equals 12 over y. Because y is in the denominator, we first multiply by y, and then divide by cosine 40 to get y by itself. Then we enter this into a calculator. 12 divided by cosine 40 equals, which gives y equal to 15.7, rounded to one decimal place. So, in this video we've seen how to work out the length of a side in any right-angled triangle, given one angle and one other side. We did this by labeling the relevant sides, so that we can choose which trig ratio to use. After we substituted into the formula, we rearranged for the unknown side. And in some cases, that involved one more step. We then entered these calculations into a calculator to find the value of the unknown side.